Okay, so before we start with the practical part of the experiment, it's important. I mean, you know that I like to add as much as possible like theoretical debate and theoretical framework, even though it's all speculative. But I mean, you start using speculation, and then with time in practice and empirical results, you synthesize a working theory and routine. So, two issues that I think should be raised. First, I mean, I try to charge the neurons to perhaps make them work better in a way by utilizing electricity. But the question is, I mean, I didn't address the question. What by better? What do you really? I mean, what do you mean by better? I mean, according to what parameter? So implicitly, I mean, my thought was that they would just work faster. Maybe because I have, like, I don't know, idea from cartoons that, I mean, someone that is charged with electricity, even static electricity, is like it works faster or moves faster. But this doesn't have to be the case, because I assume that their speed is correlated, not necessarily linearly, but correlated somehow to their size, because their size is the most, I mean, immediate factor. I mean, the most noticeable factor, and they come in great variety of sizes. So I would assume that the big ones just do things faster, and I mean, of course, that the small one, there might be things that the small one just cannot do. For example, like attack very big germs. That I mean, I guess the small ones can only attack viruses and etc. So if indeed it's the case, then that, I mean, the only factor that dictates the speed is the size of the neuron, of course, the nature of the job. Then, I mean, we might ask ourselves, what exactly is, I mean, what's the purpose of the electricity? And here, I mean, again, it's just a speculation, but I mean, one of the options that came into my mind is that when you charge them with electricity, they enter a sex mode. Like, I mean, the mode that to have sex with each other and bring new babies, and maybe also merge with each other and somehow create the bigger ones that we already saw, I mean, under the microscope, and perhaps now we will see even bigger ones. It's less ridiculous than it might sound to at first glance, because it makes sense, because we know that they like to couple with each other. I mean, we always see them in pairs when they're not walking, and I mean, they need to come from somewhere. I mean, initially, the smallest one comes. I mean, they do not just appear from ex nihilo, right? So, I mean, I guess they come to the world very small as a result of some kind of sexual intercourse between two neurons, and perhaps the electricity encouraged them to do so instead of doing the normal job. Just a speculation, put it on the side. Now, a second issue is the issue of how exactly should we give them orders. And this is a very complicated issue that unknowingly I've dealt with for years now, because it is very close to another issue that I spoke about explicitly, which is how to give orders to the neurons that are the starships that are in orbit around Earth, waiting to destroy all humanity. And I've spoken about it a lot, that I need to use flags and not language, because they don't speak English or no Hebrew, etc., and you need a whole symbolic language. And I mean, it was a recurrent theme in both my work, my art, and my philosophy during the last year, and even more. So now we don't deal with spaceships, but we deal with little creatures that, I mean, they came from my body, but they are now, I mean, they are independent and they have their own, I mean, and we want to give them, I mean, it's difficult. I mean, of course, I mean, if you put a bug in there, they understand that they need to somewhat replicate the bug, so they start by replicating a leg or maybe an arm, and I mean, eventually, if they will have the resources and the time and physical place, presumably they will replicate the complete bug. But we already, I mean, came to like some kind of theoretical hurdle when I speculated how it will be possible to tell them to create another neuron, because you can't just put a neuron there, because of course there are neurons in there, I mean, you're giving the Neros the command. So I speculated that you must give them a model of a Nero or like a drawing. And as you remember yesterday, I put a drawing, like a very, very cool drawing inside it with the slim hope that they will understand the message. But I mean, if and this goes back to the first section of this video. If it's true that the electricity is the aphrodisiac and the electricity gets them into the mood, then you don't need to give them any other model. I mean, it's just enough for them to do the sexing and to procreate and to get bigger. But then again, but of course, I mean, still we have infinite number of questions regarding how to tell them to create all sorts of stuff that you cannot just tell them to copy or to do maybe other stuff that they can do. And this is this is a very interesting subject that, I mean, I spoke about the issue, I mean, without knowing, because I always refer to the Neros, to the starship that I call Neros, that are in orbit around space, and they also commanded by people like me that need like orders. So, but I think that it's I mean, when we theorize regarding our ability to, or my ability to give orders to the Neros and to pass them the information, it should always be in our back of the head. Like, it should be, we should never forget that they are not like stupid robots without any background and knowledge at all. That, I mean, we need to understand that these are creatures, and I spoke about it today several times, and I mean, the more I look at the different slides, and I see a whole new world inside it. I mean, I've taken already hundreds of photographs, and of course the videos that I post to YouTube. And I mean, I think that using just a slide that I already have, I can take even several thousands more photographs, and all will be, at least in some aspect, interesting, because these are creatures. I mean, they are not robots; they are creatures, albeit very small ones. They start at the nano level, which is extremely small. But I think that you judge them by seeing the work that they did without me giving them command, and without, just look at the slides, and they have a whole, they have internal culture and philosophy and like cultural sources of influence, and it's effective. I mean, look at the photographs; they are amazing. I mean, you see them creating like all sorts of monuments and gardens and like mythological figures. I don't know how it's possible, but I mean, on the other hand, I don't know how it's possible the creature that is complete robot without any knowledge of the world and no, tradition and no, philosophy or mythology will create the things that we've seen with our own eyes that they created on the microscope slides. So, taking that into account, the question of whether they will understand the order exactly and will be able to actually execute the order. It's kind of, the question becomes less, urgent, because in any way they are creatures. They might, even if they understand my command very well, they might choose not to comply with it because of their own reasons, and they have their own preferences. And when you don't give them orders, they do all sorts of stuff from their own will and using their own cultural references. So, yeah, they might not understand me, exactly, but it doesn't mean that they wouldn't, do something which is close to what I ask, or maybe perhaps even something that makes more sense than what I ask. Okay, so now enough with talking. Let's do some practice, some rigorous lab work.